Okay, we'll just start to record.
Yes.
And I'll just go. Okay, so welcome. Thanks so much for joining us today. I've got a very super special guest today that I'm so excited to have on. She agreed when I had to speak with her. We agreed that we wanted to do an interview, but we weren't going to do a Zoom meeting.
Yes.
And we came up with the suggestion that we would come to this beautiful on-site location. And where we're at today is we've got the museum stretch of the river behind us in one of the most vibrant and newest communities that is just a growing area in San Antonio called the Pearl Brewery. I love it. If you're ever in San Antonio, you should definitely visit.
Yes.
But that's beside the point, because I have with me today coach, entrepreneur, author, and motivational speaker, Amber Ybarra.
Yes. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm excited for today's conversation, guys. I hope to provide as much value as possible to anyone out there who is dreaming to be an entrepreneur, who's already on their entrepreneurial journey, and I'm just excited for this conversation. So thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. So let's start off by telling us a little about yourself, Amber.
Well, that's such a big question, right? It's like, tell me about who you are. At this current point in my journey and in my life, I am so excited to be here to definitely talk about my book, but also just to kind of share that because I've been on this entrepreneurial journey for so long, to be able to coach other women to find out things like what is their niche, to be able to scale their business, and then to be able to share that with their platform in a way that impacts people, to me is so important, because to me, kind of like Oprah says, like our legacy is really of how many lives we touch and who we're able to impact. And so one of my sole goals with the podcast, with the book, with all the things that I do, it really just encompasses the bigger goal of who else can I help that maybe I'm just one or two steps ahead of their journey, but those are the people I look up to also. So I hope to be that person in someone's life, just like I look up to people to grow as a person.
Okay, nice. So yes, as entrepreneurs, it's about impact.
Yeah.
It's about impact and those others that we can affect. And I always say that if you're thinking about being an entrepreneur, it is absolutely your responsibility to get your message out there, because
100%.
Yes, just like you said, you never know who you're touching with your message.
Exactly. And in whatever industry you're in, whether you are sewing, you're a hair and makeup artist, you're more of the creative, or you're the person behind the scenes working with the people to kind of get in the bigger market. I mean, whatever role you play, the word entrepreneur isn't just, for coaches or authors or anything like that. So it's really just about finding the thing you're passionate about that you love, following that through, making it the, end game to really make sure that you stay on that ride, versus thinking you're going to have a quick fix of, okay, I'm an entrepreneur overnight, because it doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't. It doesn't.
Oh yeah, it happens overnight after after a few long nights.
After a few years of long nights, yes.
Yes. So how did you start your entrepreneurial journey?
To be honest, I kind of lived more of the struggling artist life for a while. When I was a teenager, I got into modeling really early, and I was a sign model, and that allowed me to travel all over the world in the United States. And really, that's how I discovered my love for not just travel, but for the fact that I love to just meet new people and have that conversation of, hey, let me learn from you and your culture and your background. And then I moved on to become a painter, and then showed at galleries, did that whole thing. But I didn't like the fact that people started like giving me timelines of when I needed to finish my work, and I was like, okay, this is more of something I love that's fun. I do not want to get paid for this thing. I did 1,000,001 things, and I love that I did that. And and I have to say this to the audience because it's so important. So many people say, at least I know for myself, people used to tell me, oh, you're what is the term they used to use? A master of none? A jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually used to hurt my feelings a lot, because I was like, guys, I'm just out here trying to I was a teenager. I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I can't tell you, I'm going to go all the way for political science and that's my thing. Like, I didn't know what my thing was. And it took time to discover it. And so, just to get off track for a second, if you're in the midst of figuring that out, don't let anyone make you feel bad for trying new things, because whether you go with it all the way 100% or you don't, at least you'll never regret that you'll never regret that you didn't try. You're at least trying to discover what your passion is. And for me, that's what I did. I discovered 1,000,001 things that I didn't want to do for my career.
Not 1,000,001 failures, but 1,000,001 things that you didn't want to do.
That I didn't want to do.
Awesome.
And everything from hair and makeup artists. I got to do hair and makeup for some amazing people in Atlanta, Georgia. And anyway, I found myself back in Texas now it's been probably 12 years, something like that. I might get the mathematics wrong on that. But I went back to corporate. And after my dad got really sick, I moved back here to be around family. And the person I was dating introduced me into this whole other world. And I thought, okay. And he's like, oh my gosh, I really like the way we work together. I like all these things. Long story short, we started a company together that was super successful, but we weren't. So we parted ways, and I ended up starting my own construction company. So I've had my own construction business for 7 years now that I've been running. And then from there, just starting the self-development journey that I've only been on about 3 years. I delved so deep into that because I got so lost for a while. And I like to tell people that that's really what I feel kind of saved me in that time, because I was just in search of some kind of inspiration. I felt like I had started this business, it was successful, and then all these things kind of fell off, and I didn't know what direction I wanted to go from there. And so being able to navigate my way back to find, okay, who am I? What does Amber want? And the Amber now doesn't need to keep looking in the past of, this is what I used to do. My narrative is that I was a model, and I'm an artist, and I'm a creative. It's like I had to really think of me in a new way and discover me in a new way. And that's what led me to coaching and writing and everything I do now. It's kind of always been at the core of me. I just needed to kind of build up the confidence to know that what I wanted wasn't silly. What I wanted was right just for me, and just kind of go all the way and see it through. And so that's where I'm at now. Do you think that because you had a chance to explore all of those other things, that helped you? You think that helped you? I would not change that, yes. Especially because, and by the way, I'll preface it with, I think it's amazing people who go to college, get a degree. I think that is for the people that do it and they want to do it, that's amazing. But for the people that don't, like myself, especially at a time, back in 2005, when I graduated high school early, it wasn't the thing. Like, if you didn't go to get a college degree, then what were you going to make out of your life, And so from that point to everything I've done till now, I wouldn't change a thing, because now I can look back and I don't have regrets of, maybe I want to be a hair and makeup artist, or maybe I should really give painting a shot. It's like, no, girl, you did that. You've tried. I gave myself a timeline, and I said, you know what, I just am not feeling like this is not what I want to do forever. And I really love that. And what I'm doing now, I finally found the thing that's going to be my life's work. It's the thing that just never going to stop. It's the thing that even when I wake up and have hard days, there's still something in me that keeps me going. I'm still able to generate that excitement and energy. And even when I have my off days, because I definitely do, I'm not trying to say I don't have bad days, I allow myself to to just be. And I'm just at such a great place in life right now that even when I'm not going a million miles an hour, that's okay too. Because I love that I've tried so many of the other things I thought were my passions.
Right. It may have even accelerated you finding the right thing. Many people.
Yeah. No, I love the way you put that. I think it did accelerate me finding the right thing.
Yes. If you try a lot of things, and when I was in college, I remember I started off with one degree. I said, okay, but I'm going to expose myself to a lot of different courses throughout my first year, and I'm going to decide, what do I gravitate towards?
Yeah.
What information do I seek out without being told to, that you have to do an assignment, that you have to complete this? What am I naturally drawn to? What's naturally drawn to me?
And how long did that take you? Was that over a span of a semester or a few years?
That was, let's because my journey is a little different.
True.
I went to the military straight out of high school. 17 years old, and I was overseas almost immediately as a youngster, younger than 21.
Oh my gosh.
So You're
amazing.
I was very moldable.
Yeah.
So, and the people sometimes that will mold you don't always have your best intention.
Yeah.
The best intention for you. Well, maybe there is a good intention, but it's,
for the collective and not for you specifically, maybe.
I'll say that I got into a lot of trouble.
You were a troublemaker. Okay, I was considered a rebel, so there's the commonality right there. Yeah.
Yes. I was considered a troublemaker, and being from a big city and being in the military, I started to naturally, the other people from big cities we were kind of gravitated together. Have nothing bad to say about my friends, because they're still my good friends to this day.
That's awesome.
They're still my good friends to this day, but we know that we were bad, okay? But after getting out of the military, I still had a few years before I decided to go to college.
Yeah.
So I didn't go to college until I was 28 years old. That's when I first started college.
Okay.
I first started. So I think I had a little more, I won't say I had a little more, but I was able to really focus in college. It wasn't all partying. I wasn't an 18-year-old.
You learned something. Okay. No.
Yes. I wasn't an 18-year-old that just was fresh out of being at home. So I did. I gave myself a year in that semester, and I changed my degree from accounting to marketing.
Awesome.
And that's what I stuck with that same degree the entire time. And
that's amazing. I love that.
Yes. And I realized, because I did go into corporate America, and I was doing everything that I felt I needed to do, but I think that I was really trying to please others around me.
That's a hard one. I think we all have that in us, especially when it comes to the people closest to us, like our family.
Yes.
Especially at a very young, impressionable age, to where we kind of, whatever relationship you may have with your parents, it's like, I feel most people want to make them proud, or want that, hey, you did a really good job, son, or kind of a feeling, from our loved ones. So I can relate there. I had some of that too. So me choosing not to go to college was definitely stuck with me for a few years, and I think actually kind of lit a fire in me, because I was like, well, if I disappointed my parents this bad for not going to college, I better make something of myself. And again, something of myself is just defined by our own selves, shouldn't be defined by other people. But I totally get that.
You think that drives you today?
No, No, I think that stopped driving me when I probably hit my mid-20s. I mean, of course, a part of me always wants to make my parents proud. I stick to my core values, and I stick to, at the end of the day, like, I just want to be a good person. And to be honest, I remember when I was in modeling, and I got my first billboard in Dallas, Texas, and I was on this, like, billboard, and it was so cool. And I remember calling my parents, and my mom and dad were like, okay, cool, well, are you coming over for the barbecue this weekend? And, like, that stuck with me because
Totally
in that
skipped
point,
over.
I realized, like, maybe I didn't realize it fully at the time, but even though they skipped over it, I love that they did that because at the end of the day, I'm just their daughter. Like, they just want me there with them. They want my quality time. They don't care if I become, you know, Angelina Jolie in Tomb Raider. They don't care. And so then it became about, okay, well, they're not, like, too impressed with, like, all the accolades. Like, so then why am I doing this? And what do I really want to get kind of exposure for or have an impact on in my life? And then it became more about, like, turning inward to what I want, which was a pretty cool thing because, you know, my parents had me young. They had me when they were 7. They dropped out of high school to raise me and to work triple jobs to be able to feed me and my brother. So it's cool to know that even back then, maybe I didn't give them enough credit, but they always had good intentions. They always just wanted me to do what made me happy. And sometimes it's not the best advice. Like, I'd call for advice and they're like, oh, just do what makes you happy. And I'm like, that's not helping me. Help me make a decision. And they're like, no, girl, this is on you. So
Wow.
it was pretty, it left something
So
on me.
so it was whatever you chose to do, they still just want your time. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was you that was really putting the pressure on yourself.
Always.
Would you-
Still. Still. My mom's like, when are you going to give us grandkids? I'm like, slow your roll. I am, you know, one day. It's one of those things. But yes, to answer your question, yes, they just want me healthy and happy. And I used to not like that, and now I just love that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, if I become a parent, I want to be that kind of parent that, okay, great, you're a movie star, and what? Like, you better be here for dinner, you know? Like one of those things. I think that's special.
Yes. Oh, that's so relatable about putting pressure on yourself, and it's like I said, you're thinking that you're living up to other people's expectations, and yeah.
I agree.
That is something.
Have you found that difficult? Do you feel like in this time in your life you still live for maybe more of other people's expectations, or what? I see your big laugh coming. Tell me, I want to know.
Well, I think we had this. We talked about
Briefly.
my oldest brother.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, and you know that gets, you know, that's a touchy subject with my oldest brother, and
Yeah.
you know, we've had our differences. We've had our differences that
Yeah.
we're still working out. We're still working out, and it's just the fact that I bring his name up often.
Yeah.
It's me saying that I really want more of a relationship with him, I think.
Yeah.
I think I really want more.